Hey, my name is Kendra, aka DQ My Sister, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been a minute since I've done a sit-down video. It's been years, but I am back with a video dedicated to the Grad School Chronicles series. And y'all know I've been in grad school for a very long time, but I've learned so much since I've been in grad school. I've become a better person, a better student, and I'm here to, give y'all some tips, because when I first started grad school, I didn't know what I was doing at all. And I was literally failing. And I've been very vocal about, me failing exams and dropping classes and all type of stuff. I've been vocal about this, so there's no shame in my game. The girl is not downfalling no more, because I actually passed neuroanatomy, and I will be graduating in December of 2022. So I have literally one more class, one more semester, and I'm gonna be done. So with that being said, I know a few things, okay? Because I went from failing in class to actually passing and coming out with a decent grade. So, with that being said, I am going to be sharing 6 tips on how I went from failing grad school, because y'all know, to passing and actually acing grad school. Like, I've actually come out with some A's, and that's major for me. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, tip number 1, since you are in grad school to get your master's, you need to get in the mindset of trying to master the material instead of memorizing the material. Because you probably got by, like me, in middle school, high school, even somewhere through college, memorizing some facts right before the test and coming out with a decent grade. However, in grad school, you're not going to be able to do that, because you're going to be bombarded by so much material. It's like drinking water out of a water hose on 1000, and you're trying not to choke. You in grad school for a reason. So let's not, be mediocre about the studying. Like, let's be honest, you're in grad school to get your master's so you can master it. So you need to master the material. And when you are mastering the material, it feels so good when things start to click. And I know it does take longer. You might have to do further reading, further research, and, really study day in and day out. But it's all worth it, especially when you can actually teach somebody and explain a concept to someone. That's how you know you have mastered it. And also, when you master the material, you're never going to forget it completely. No. Even if months go by, you will still be able to know the gist of it. You might not know specific details on how photosynthesis work, but you still remember how it go from here to here to here. You still remember, and that's going to be very important, especially when you're going to be taking cumulative exams. Number 2, while you are trying to master the material, you need to be following a good study plan. So when you first start your class, they're going to give you a syllabus. You need to write down all your test dates. You're like, okay, I have 3 weeks before exam 1. And you might be told that, hey, it's going to be about 25 topics. I will freak out first. And then, after you get done freaking out, ask yourself, okay, what can I do about this? How can I manage this? What can I do? So, with that being said, you need to make you a study schedule. You see all that? I didn't actually follow through with this, because times is always changing, okay? But the fact that I was able to map out each day, it helped out. Also, when you do follow a study schedule, you can map out days towards the end of your study period, close to the test, where you can just straight up review everything and not be trying to cram material. Like, it don't feel good to cram. I'm sorry. You know how they say pressure makes diamonds? It ain't like that in grad school. Cramming makes feelings. So you need to do a study schedule. Like, I do them all of the time. Here go another one I done. And I actually did follow through with that one. Made a 98 on it. So you need to have a study schedule just so you can visually see what you got to do. And tip number 3, while you are, doing your study schedule and you figured it out, you gonna have to put in some hours. I mean hours. Typically, I study between 6 to 8 hours a day. Now, do I study that every single day? No, because I'm gonna be real with y'all. Sometimes I might study 4 or maybe 5, but I try to aim for about 8 hours a day. And it does seem like a lot because you're like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to work out, go to work, go to sleep, eat, breathe? Well, I do not study 8 hours straight out. I can, personally, I can do that if I'm really focused. But some days I'm not focused. And also, I got stuff going on just like everybody else. So what I do is that I break up my study periods. Sometimes I might get up early and study for 4 hours. And then I go live my life for the rest of the day. I might take a nap, go watch TV, go to work, go to school, do whatever I want to do, go hang out with my friends. But then around like 6 to 7 o'clock, I'm like, okay, let me finish the rest of my study. And then I'm done by 11 o'clock. And I typically don't go to bed till about 12 to 1. So it works out just fine. And if you have been studying consistently, putting in long hours every single day, then it's okay to take a day off every now and then. Like, you can do that, especially with your study schedule. If you know you've been studying, 6 hours Monday through Friday, and you want to hang out all day Saturday, you can do that because you've earned it. You've done enough. You have. So it's okay. Take a day off. Now that I have talked about, the ground rules, making a study plan and stuff like that, now I'm going to be actually talking about a few study tips. And one of the study tips is that you should take annotated notes or some type of summary or revised notes of the material, because like I said, I get overwhelmed. I am surrounded by so much notes. Like, let me show you. This is typically how much notes that I go through in one class. I cannot sit up here and study all of this right before the exam. It's impossible. No. So while I am studying, I make small annotated notes. And I actually have kept these for about a year. These are my annotated notes from histology. And y'all, I'm so proud of my notes. I'm gonna keep these for my kids and be like, look what y'all mama was doing. Look how hard she was working. Okay, I'm not throwing this away. But I do revise notes, and I'm gonna show y'all. Like, this booklet right here has things to remember, chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and 14. And I write down the important stuff. And like, this is not a big booklet. Like, it's maybe 10 pages, but it keeps up with everything. Like, I have arrows, graphs, charts, this is going here, this was going here, and then also grouping. Grouping also helps, like associating certain words so you won't forget. Like, y'all, it's so organized. And when I actually made these booklets, I did not have an iPad like several students in my class. I personally could not afford one. So that was that. But I don't feel like it's anything wrong with traditional paper and pencil. I ain't gonna sit up here and pray. I got an iPad now, and I actually do the same revised notes, and it works just fine. However, if that iPad stopped working, I don't mind going back to these. These almost done, y'all. Do active recall. And this is something that I learned while looking at YouTubers online, and I'm like, wow, like active recall. At first I didn't know what it was. One way of doing active recall is literally doing flashcards. And I love me some flashcards, honey. Especially whenever, I'm going through a deck and I'm getting them all right, and then I have like the few that I got wrong, and I just go through those. I'm like, okay, I understand that. But there's been some times where I done went through a deck and I didn't know much. I'm like, okay, this is the topic. I need to get my book out and do some learning, because what I'm doing, it ain't working. So flashcards really do help, especially when trying to refresh and make sure you are keeping up with small details. However, if you are in a class where you literally have to go through like 1,000 to 2,000 flashcards, like medical physiology one, if you know, y'all, you need to do like an online flashcard database, such as Quizlet or Anki. And Anki is something that I learned literally after my first semester. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me about that? That would have been so helpful, because I got sick of going to Walmart and buying 7 and 8 decks of flashcards. Like, No, like I literally was going to class with a shoebox at one point of flashcards. It was that deep. I personally like to do Anki instead of Quizlet because Anki is downloaded into your computer, so you don't need any type of Wi-Fi or internet. So I like Anki. It's like a repetition based. Quizlet, on the other hand, is still good because you can change the format of your flashcards. If you want to do actual practice exams with your flashcards, you can do that with like matching and filling a blank and grouping, all that type of stuff. That's very important. But for me personally, I like to do Anki, and I can share my Anki dates with, like, you know, classmates, and they give me their Anki dates. It's just really helpful. Also, another way of doing active recall is doing practice questions. That's how you know if you know a material, is if you can go and study and do some practice questions and do decent on them. And if there's a practice question that you're not understanding and that you get it wrong, you can go back and be like, all right, let me go back in this book and figure out where I went wrong. You can go online and find some practice questions. Also, if you are using a textbook to do reading, they have practice questions typically after each chapter in most books. Or you can make your own practice questions. I've done that several times and it helps. Definitely make time to do practice questions so you can really quiz yourself to see how well is your understanding of a specific topic. So it might seem like it's gonna take a lot of time, which it can, but it's worth it. You just have to prioritize that into your study schedule. So you can't say, I didn't have enough time. Like I said, if you're trying to master something, you're gonna do anything and everything to get that grade that you really do want. Another way that I do after recall is simply by doing brain dumping. And let me show you how I do it. Have a whiteboard that I love. I've had this one for about a year and I've done a lot of writing on here, okay? So I'm gonna give sis a break. But with my whiteboard, I just simply write out anything that I know to be, and write it all out. And then when I'm done and I feel like, you know, I got it all, I go and I be like, this goes to this. And then when I'm brain dumping, I actually start to include small details that I learned in my notes and see if I can put it together, like making a puzzle. And then when I'm done completely, that's when I go in my notes and I check myself. And if I know it, I got it. That's how I know I mastered it, okay? So definitely brain dumping does help. With that being said, I think those are all the tips that I have so far. If I come up with anything, I can do like a part 2 or a part 3. It doesn't matter, just let me know. If you found something very helpful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. We are almost to 200 subscribers. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye y'all.